Hello, magnificent human beings. My name is Landon with Yoga New Mexico, where we focus on empowerment, alignment, and strength. You are in the right place, capable and strong. What are we doing today, this week? Well, it is Wednesday's educational piece. It is time for Uttanasana, that is forward fold. Also, I have heard it called forward bend. So, Uttanasana is done wrong by lots and lots of people because I think we try to keep this mental image in our brain of, perfectly straight knees and then folding over into a perfect, like half fold over thing. And it's really just kind of difficult. So let's dive in. Let's look at Uttanasana and roll out your mat. I will roll the intro screen. Thank you so much for being here. Let's take a look at our forward fold, Uttanasana. Now, I think this is difficult for folks because lots of us have tight low back, tight glutes, tight hamstrings. That whole area can be really problematic. And for many of us, you can't just fold all the way over. It's really hard. And so there's lots of little cool tricks and everything to help get us there. The first thing I want to show you is how to sort of brace yourself on your legs. So here in our forward fold, I think most of the time we do it like this. And you can see there's some pretty significant rounding in my back and, knees kind of locked out, and we're just kind of hunching forward. So first of all, let me say there's a difference between hunching and a gentle rounding. If a gentle rounding happens, that's fine. But, if you're trying to bend from your upper or middle back, probably not the best thing. So the first thing is placing your hands here just above your knees and very slight bend on your knees, and you can really lengthen that spine. So you can keep that nice flat back. And you can actually use your arm strength to push down into those quads, into your legs just a little bit to really help kind of get that lengthening. And your neck, that skull reaches out too. So this is kind of the first part of your forward fold, is having this nice flat back here, is thinking about keeping that nice flat back as eventually you come down, 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 farther, farther. So the next thing is kind of a top-down versus bottom-up approach. And if you watch the class on pigeon, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, but I will explain right now. So the top-down approach is kind of what the goal is, like you really want to be able to have, your belly and your stomach and your chest touching your legs when you fold. So if you begin simply like this, with having your knees bent very, very significantly and your hands on the mat, then this is forward fold because you have that nice flat back. And yes, your knees are bent, but this is perfectly fine because in the top up and bottom down strategies, there's, one of two ways. So this is kind of like the goal, right? Like top down of where, your goal is. And then bottom up would be here, where you're kind of targeting more of that low back, right? So in explaining both of these a little bit more, the top-down strategy is really great because it allows you to take some of those, it allows you to take some of the weight out of that low back and then moves it into your hamstrings. So instead of here, place your hands or your fingertips on the mat, shift your weight forward just a little bit so you have some weight in those fingertips. Bend your knees, flat back, relax. And so from here, you can actually really start to target those hamstrings. All the while keeping that nice flat back. And again, like I said, a gentle rounding is okay, but you don't want to be hunching, so. Next, we want to really look at that bottom down approach or bottom up approach. And this is where I think most people are, and most people in their forward fold, they could definitely do it a little bit safer. So we come into our forward fold, right? Typically our knees are pretty straight and we're just kind of hanging here and we're thinking, okay, this is our forward fold. And for many folks, this is really where we are because our hamstrings are really tight and our, calves are tight, our low back is tight. So you kind of start to feel this maybe in your low back eventually, or you probably shouldn't be feeling it too much in that low back, rather kind of in your hamstrings. And this is where the magic is, right? Are you doing it from this way? Or are you doing it from this way? And you will eventually meet in the middle if you practice this top up approach and bottom down approach. So wherever you are, if you're just hanging here, then maybe try placing your hands like we had before on your shins, maybe a little bit further down, nice long back. So it's almost like you're in a half lift, right? Like this looks way more like half lift than it does forward fold, but they share a lot of the same properties and principles. Folding on down. So it's hard, right? Because where do you find your balance? Is it here or is it here? And you will stretch out this low back like this, but it's very subtle, right? You shouldn't be hunching forward, but a gentle rounding is okay. And when you brace yourself like this, you take some of the weight out of that low back. So just try it for a moment. Hands grab really strong onto your legs, really, really tight. And then this is going to be odd, but take the weight of your torso out, like relax your back completely, but have nice strong arms. And then see how much you can come down. And don't bend at your back, rather bend your elbows outward. Back is relaxed, relax your back, shift your weight forward. Maybe you can slide your hands down. So that's the other approach. And all these tricks really have to do with taking the weight out of your low back, because we kind of make that the fulcrum point, if you will, when we do our forward fold, and it doesn't really need to be in our low back. It needs to be right here in our hips because we are bending from our hips. But when your glutes, your hamstrings, and your low back are so tight, they almost feel like the same thing. And if you have lower back issues, then you know that it just kind of depends on the day. Some days your low back doesn't hurt at all and everything's fine. And then other days when you get out of bed, you already know immediately this is going to be a tough day. And anything you can do to take the weight off of that low back is good, because then it will allow those other areas to stretch and loosen and open up, and then therefore you'll be able to eventually come more into your forward fold. So there you are, your forward fold, your Uttanasana. Thank you all so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. If you found this video of use, share, like, subscribe, all those good things. From my heart to all of yours, you are a magnificent human being in the right place, capable and strong. Uttanasana, things are gonna get easier. Uttanasana. Okay, namaste.